Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you're all doing okay and having a great day and an amazing week. My name is Effy and today we're doing something a little bit new. I'm calling it a re-review, but I know other people have done this and they call it hauls in retrospect. But essentially what I'm doing is going through all the products I tested on my YouTube channel in this month last year, and I'm putting them on my face again. I'm letting you know what I'm thinking about them a year on, and I'm also letting you know if I were to lose all of my makeup from my house, would I repurchase these products? Because that is a surefire way of finding out whether or not I truly love a product, because if I would repurchase it, I clearly love it. If I wouldn't, it means I'm a little bit indifferent about it and therefore probably not as good, in my opinion. I did do 3 videos in March of last year testing new products, so I will leave link down below all of those videos so you can see my initial review if you would like to. I'll also leave any other relevant videos of me using the products just so you can see them in use a bit more. But this is the full face, and this month we do actually have a full face. I cannot promise that for every other month this year. Videos that I did last year are the full face testing MUA video, the testing the Beautybay Sunset Horizons video, and the Charlie Betty Beauty the Earth palette video. So all of those products will be used today. Let me know what you think of this idea. I think it's a good one, so I'm probably going to continue on with it anyway, just because I don't want to bring in loads of products into my collection and never use them ever again. Also, I think it's a good way of keeping track of my opinions, because obviously your first impression of a product isn't always the one that sticks around. This is the look. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put up 2 videos a week and it is all makeup content, so if that sounds like your type of thing, then this is the place for you. But other than that, I will let you enjoy the video. We're going to make a start with eyeshadow, so I'm going to pull you in and I'm just going to talk about each eyeshadow palette as we go, because there are 3 to talk about. So let's come in close and talk about the palettes. Palette number 1 is the Beautybay Sunset Horizons. I have used this palette a fair amount since I got it. I don't think this palette is incredibly versatile. It kind of just does the sunset eyes and things like that without really stretching too much further in any other direction. But I think that's the point of these palettes. I think they are meant to be a set colour scheme and you buy it for the colour scheme. I'm going to make a start on my eyes and I'll keep talking about the palette and then I'll speed up the rest of it. I will say I think the quality of these palettes has improved. Since this one I've picked up the Wilderness palette and the Age of Opulence palette, and I think particularly the shimmers in those palettes are just ever so slightly better. But it doesn't mean I don't love this palette. It's just good to see that Beautybay are working on their formula. That's all I think I'm going to do with this palette. I've just used 3 shades. I'm going for a purple look today. This is looking really good. They blend really nicely. It is a really good palette, and I'm almost certain this one is still available on Beautybay. Palette number 2 is the MUA Tropical Oceania palette. It is a colourful palette. Looks like this. I'm going to be dipping into this for some of the lighter purples and blues. So let's make a start and I'll talk about the palette. With this palette, you do have to take into consideration the price of it. This is a very, very inexpensive palette. It costs next to nothing for so many shades, and it does work well. The shades work quite nicely. They blend well. They've got decent pigment to them. They're not bad shades. However, the palette itself isn't my favourite. I completely forgot I was meant to be saying whether or not I would repurchase them if I lost it forever. If I lost all my makeup, would I rebuy these products? The Horizons palette, yes, I would 100% repurchase this if I lost it. Now we can carry on. This MUA palette, if I lost it forever and I lost all my other eyeshadow palettes, would I repurchase it? Probably not, but I would want to purchase an MUA palette. I don't know which one. I'm just very intrigued by their formulas, and I do think this is a good palette. There are a couple of things that bother me about it. One is that it just doesn't go dark enough. The darker shades here are all shimmers, and so I can't exactly put them in my crease. Well, I could, but I wouldn't want to, which is a bit of a shame. I like to really darken up my outer corner. As you can see, I've used the black from the Beautybay palette. Also, the shimmers just aren't the best. They're sort of just a very basic metallic formula, which is fine because they work well as a basic metallic formula. I just like my shimmers to have a bit more of a sparkle to them. There we go, I've used a couple of shades from that palette. I am just going to quickly cut my crease. Nothing was tested this time last year for crease cutting, so I'm just going to do it how I normally do. Okay, so my crease is cut. I do have a bit of fallout. I think it's from the Beautybay palette, but that's absolutely fine. That's why I started with my eyes. And the third and final palette we're going to be talking about is the Charlie Betty Beauty The Earth palette. I love this palette. It's so luxurious. It's probably the most luxurious palette in my collection, and it's full of greens. I love greens. I also love the reds and the browns and the yellows. I'm going to be using this today for my shimmers. I can so easily say that if I lost this palette from my collection, I would repurchase it in a heartbeat. I love this palette. I honestly don't reach for it as much as I should, but it is so good, and knowing that it's an indie brand just makes me so much happier to use it, because I'd rather promote somebody that's trying to make their dreams come true. I will leave her Instagram link down below because she's honestly doing some really amazing work, and I think it's super important and it definitely deserves a lot more recognition. So I'll leave it linked down below. I'll obviously also leave her shop link down below because this palette is amazing. Look at that shimmer. I'm also going to go in with this shade here, Capricorn, which when I got this palette I didn't think I would like it because it's a topper shade. And back in the day I didn't think I liked topper shades. I was wrong. This is probably my favourite shade in the palette. It just transforms everything. What I'm going to do now is just go off camera, blend these shades a little bit more, but I'm not going to add any extra shades. I'm also going to catch up the other eye, and then we'll come back and do our base and everything else. I'm back. Time to do base. Pretty much everything, in fact yes, everything is MUA. That is a brand I tested in March of last year, so let's go through the base and see if any of my opinions have changed. Starting with primer, I have the Pro Base Mattifying Flawless Primer. I like this. I don't reach for it that often. It kind of doesn't stand out in my collection at all, not in a positive way or a negative way. I've got glitter on my face from the shimmer shade, but that's absolutely fine. I don't know what it is about this primer. I think it's just a very basic primer. Also, primers just don't excite me particularly. Would I repurchase this primer if I lost it? I don't know. Because it's so cheap, part of me wants to say yes, but then at the same time I would also want to pick up a different MUA primer. MUA as a brand just really interests me. They've got quite a big range of products. So maybe I should do another testing video. Let me know if you'd like to see that, because they do have so many products that I could easily probably do another full face. Foundation, the Pro Base Longwear Matte Finish Foundation. This is one of my favourite foundations. I'm pretty sure it was in my favourites video at the end of last year. I just love it. It comes on a spatula, so you get to pick how much you put on your face. The shade match is so great for me, which also helps. It's matte, so I don't have to powder it down if I don't want to on my skin. I do have normal to combination skin. That's probably why it works so well on me. If you had dry skin, I don't know how this would work, and if you had oily skin, I don't know how this would work. I'm sorry. But yeah, I really do enjoy this foundation. It's one of my favourites. It's so inexpensive, and if I lost this out of my collection, I would 100% repurchase it. As you can see, it's got pretty good coverage. You can build it up if you want to put more on, you can do. If you want to put less on, you can sheer it out. I just think this is such a versatile foundation. I love it. The concealer, on the other hand, I'm sorry I can't say the same about. This is the Pro Base Full Coverage Concealer in the shade 100. The foundation is in the shade 102. I don't like this concealer. I think it's just got no coverage to it. It does a good job at lightening, which is why I'm so glad I got it in such a pale shade. This is almost white. and it does such a good job of brightening, but I don't think it gives me much coverage at all. I've got some spots here, and this is definitely the wrong shade to be concealing them. But even if I had a shade to conceal spots, I don't think it would do much. Definitely wouldn't cover those. Nothing's covering those. So if I lost that out of my collection, I wouldn't repurchase it. It's just not my favourite. On, it does also crease quite a lot under my eyes, which isn't the best, and as you can see, I just don't think it's giving me much coverage. It's just not my favourite. It is very inexpensive, but honestly I'd recommend picking up the Collection Lasting Perfection concealer instead. It's just much better. It's got more coverage. Sorry MUA. I don't understand how you have such a great foundation and then not a great concealer to go with it. Powder, this is the loose setting powder in the shade Invisible Silk. This is an alright powder. It is a bit messy. It's very finely milled. It goes everywhere in the air, so I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather have clean lungs. Also, I've noticed it kind of sticks to patches on my face and just sort of gives me a white patch where it sticks because it is so white. I think it does a good enough job at setting my face, so I don't hate it. See, it kind of looks like I've got a white patch here now. I don't know. I don't think I would repurchase this just because I have better powders. There we go. I am all set, and it does make my skin feel nice and smooth and very, very set. Like, it's very mattifying. It feels nice. It's very silky. I don't know, it's just not my favourite. I just have better powders in my collection. I personally love the I Heart Revolution scented loose baking powders, and they're only £5. I really like that one. Blush, we have the Blushed Matte powder in the shade Rose Tea. This was in my project pan for the first 3 months of the year. I love this blush. It works so well. It's not too pigmented, which is nice, but it can also be built up to be really pigmented. I'm pretty sure they do this in 4 shades, and I really, really wish they did more shades. I just think this is a really nice everyday shade for me. It's a touch pink, but it's not too pink. It's sort of like a rosy tone, which works well on my skin at least. I will say, having it in my project pan has frustrated me because I've been using it so much, and I dig into it a lot, as you can see, and it just doesn't go down. But that's fine. At least you know you're getting a good amount of product. If I lost this out of my collection, I would repurchase it. It's super inexpensive. I think it's like £3.50 or something like that. And I just love it. I think this is a great everyday shade for me. And I actually think if I were to run out of this, I would honestly consider buying another one, even though I have too many blushes in my collection. Bronzer, we've got the Bronzed Matte Bronzing Powder in the shade Solar 110. I like this bronzer. However, when I did my collection videos, I noticed that this is so much cooler than all of my other bronzers, but it's not cool enough to be a contour. But it is just slightly cooler than my other ones, which works well at the moment because we're not quite into summer yet, obviously. And therefore a warmer bronzer might not work as well. And I do like this. It's not too pigmented. You can definitely build it up a lot like the blush. Would I repurchase this if I lost it out of my collection? Probably not. Just because I've not really reached for it as much as I thought I would. I will admit I've been reaching for my Project Pan bronzer a lot more. But I don't know. It's just not anything bad about it. It just doesn't particularly pull me in. So I don't reach for it that often. That nose contour did not go well. Oh well. Highlighter. This is the Light Luster Highlight Kit in Golden Kiss. It comes with 3 highlighters, which I really like. We'll go for the pink one today, just because this is sort of a pinky purple type look. Obviously I can't use the bottom one, it's a bit too dark for me, and I don't actually think I've used it on my eyes or anything like that, which is a bit of a shame. But I mean, I've got 2 highlighters. and they're very inexpensive. I like this. I don't reach for it as much as I maybe should. Again, because I've been reaching for my Project Pan highlighter a lot more, that'll influence it. But also I just think these are a little bit powdery. They're not the best highlighters I have in my collection. They do a good job, and I like that it has a pink toned highlight because I do tend to stick to pink tones a bit more than most people, I think. So I do like that. And obviously it's a good highlighter, you can see that, I mean, wow. But I just think their other highlighters, which they've changed the name of, they were called the Undress Your Skin highlighters. I don't know what they're called now, but they are just, in my opinion, a bit better. This one's fine and it works well. And actually I'm layering it up, but it's not gone super metallic. It still looks relatively natural. So maybe I should reach for this more. Maybe this is my sign. I do like it. If I lost it out of my collection, I probably would pick it up. But then at the same time, I would probably just pick up more of their like Undress Your Skin highlighters. But I don't know if they have a pink tone one. So maybe I would pick this one up. I don't know. I think the final answer is yes, I would pick this up. But that's probably being swayed by how inexpensive it is. I'm now going in with some setting spray. This is the Pro Base Mattifying Fixing Setting Spray. This has also been in my Project Pan. I don't like this. I wouldn't repurchase it. I think it works fine. I tend to use setting sprays as a way of rehydrating all the powders on my face and helping them settle into my skin a bit more. I don't always care too much about it actually staying on my skin. I guess now maybe that I'm in the office a bit more, I will care about that. But the issue I have with this is the smell. I really don't like the scent of it. I don't know what it is, I just really don't like it. If I lost it out of my collection, I wouldn't repurchase it. But I would pick up another one of their setting sprays to see if I prefer it. Let's zoom back in and do the eyes. We'll do our lower lash line, our brows, our mascara, all that good stuff. So I'm just going to quickly pull some of those matte purple shades along my lower lash line from the Beautybay palette and the MUA palette. And then just to pull in something from the Charlie Betty Beauty palette on my lower lash line, I'm going to use a bit of this shade here, just on the very inner corner of my lower lash line as well. So now I'm going to do my brows, and we have the MUA Brow Define Micro Precision Eyebrow Pencil. It comes with a spoolie on one end, so let me just quickly spoolie up my brows, make sure they're all good. And then we have a micro precision brow pencil on the other end. This brow pencil is so inexpensive. It's very messy at the end because I use it all the time. It's one of my favourite brow pencils. I would 100% repurchase this if I lost it out of my collection. I will probably repurchase this when I run out of it because I love it. I think this is so comparable to the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. And when you consider that that's like £22 and this is less than £5, I know which one I'll repurchase, that's for sure. There we go, not my best brows, but they will do for the video. I love this brow pencil. I think it is amazing. If you've never tried it, please just go and try it. This is such a good match for my brow hairs as well. The colour just works really well. I do have an eyeliner. I don't often test eyeliners. This may be one of the very few ones you see this year. This is the Idefine Soft Tip Felt Liner. This is an alright eyeliner. It's sort of a felt tip end. It's very long. It's not as thin as I would like. It's not my favourite. It's not the one I reach for the most, but it does a good job. It is black. It works. It's inexpensive. If I lost this out of my collection, I wouldn't repurchase it. I have other ones I would repurchase, but this isn't one of them. I just sort of did a line along my lash line. Like I said, it's not my favourite. I don't love it. But it has lasted quite well considering I'm a year into this, and I've used it a fair few times. I don't often do eyeliner in general anymore. But this one lasts really well, it works well, it's black, it's done a good job. For mascara, I have the Amplify Statement Lash. I would not repurchase this. I really don't like this. It has a plastic bristle wand. And it has quite short bristles. But the bristles are quite pointy. And they sort of stab into your lash line a little bit. And I don't think the mascara really does a lot for my lashes. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to see my lashes much anyway because I've got eyeliner and black eyeshadow, so they're not going to stand out. But this just doesn't do a lot for my lashes. I just don't like the effect it has on my lashes. I'll give you a close-up in a moment, but I just don't like how it looks. I think it looks really clumpy. It's just not my favourite. But like I said, I should really get some use out of it because I don't like the idea of makeup going to waste. And mascara is one of those products that you can't just pass on to a friend. So I think I might just have to suck it up and use it. Such a first world problem. Here is a close-up of my eyes. As you can see, the eyeshadows work perfectly. Even those lighter purple shades from the MUA palette have worked super well. These shimmers from the Charlie Betty Beauty palette are gorgeous. I'm loving these colours together. I love purple. I don't know how well you can see the mascara, but it's just not my favourite at all. But like I said, I should really just get some use out of it. I'll give you a quick look at my base as well. Hopefully you can see the highlighter. You can see that I've still got texture on my skin, but that is fine. That's what skin does. I will say it's looking a bit weird between my brows, but I'm not sure why. Doesn't normally do that. Maybe I just have like a dry patch in there and that's what's going on. But yeah, anyway, let's do a lip. Now the lip is not going to go with the eye at all, but I have a lip liner. It's very rare I have a lip liner, but I did pick this one up and this is in the shade Couture. It is the Intense Colour Lip Liner from MUA. I would 100% repurchase this, and in fact I really want to pick up every single shade they have. These are super inexpensive. I don't know if they're like £1.50, £2, £2.50. They're somewhere around there. They're amazing. They're so creamy. They're longer than all the other lip liners I own, so that's good. It is sharpenable, very easily sharpenable. I have sharpened this one. They're just amazing. Honestly, go and pick some up, test them out for yourself. They're really good and super inexpensive. I know I look ridiculous with just liner. I don't like this look either. So I'm going to quickly move on to the lipstick, but this amazing product will 100% be picking up more shades of it. For lipstick, I have the Velvet Matte Longwear Liquid Lipstick in the shade Dash. I really like this. If I lost it, I would repurchase it, and again, I want to repurchase many more shades. I'll be honest, definitely not my best application. I tried doing that thing where you sort of skip over your cupid's bow a little bit, but I think it just looks weird on me. And it doesn't match the eyes, but that's absolutely fine. These liquid lipsticks are so comfortable. It's such a thin consistency. It feels like nothing on your lips. It does dry down and it can be a little drying, but I personally don't mind that because they do stay on relatively well. They do a good range of colours. They're very inexpensive. I actually really like this colour, it kind of matches my nails. So there we go, that is the end of the video. Let me know what you think of this whole re-review situation, whether you like it. I personally like it, so I'm going to keep filming them. But it's good to know that you guys think the same. I just think it's so easy for me to bring products in and forget about them. And this is a good way of sort of keeping track of what I enjoy and what I purchased, and also retesting them to see if I still like them, to see if they still fit with what I need in makeup. And I think that's really good. And also it's a bit of a reminder to use them. For example, the highlight, definitely going to use that a little bit more often now. So yeah, I think this is a really good video idea. Let me know what you think though. If you like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put up 2 videos a week and it is always makeup content, so if that sounds like your type of thing, then this is the place for you. But other than that, I will let you go. Have a great day and an amazing week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!